So, good morning, good evening, and a very good afternoon again. Welcome back. We are live on direct. We are back, on the Easy Talk. A familiar face from other podcasts and something like a back five or anyway. We're gonna get into that just in a moment. Glenwyn, how have you been, my friend? Oh,
Thank you.
we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, I've probably had my mic upside down there, but yeah, I'm very well. Thanks again. Thank you for having me on the Easy Talk. They call it the what? The blue chip of a company is the Easy Talk of YouTube. Uh,
For real. Like
I'm good, thanks, man.
Good. And Brother Prosper, who's in the wrong time zone, man, or the right time zone. Prosper, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. It's always a pleasure to be on the show, and it's always a pleasure to have family around you that you can rely on in terms of football.
Absolutely. But good to have you back. Vinci! Yeah!
man, it's a blessing. It's a privilege to be here. Easy Talks always smiles when I tune in and see the guys just delivering the passion towards Arsenal. So yeah, look forward to more of it tonight, and big up the guys in the chat. It's good to see Cannon back doing his stuff, man.
Nice one. Thank you for that, man. Yeah. All right, so you know what? We're going to bring it tonight, man. So first up, there's something about Nottingham Forest. When I saw Nottingham Forest get battered literally by Arsenal, wonder goals by Gyökeres and a worldie from Martin Zubimendi. I think it was probably his first brace in his career. And I thought, why can't Arsenal always play like that, Glenwyn? Why can't they always play like that? Painting beautiful pictures, man. Come on.
Should I be the devil's advocate in this one?
I don't know, man.
Yeah, now look, I mean, Forest is a decent side. It's a good team, especially now with the manager that has been chased away in Nuno, and I think Nuno had a very, very good time at Forest. He did very well with the players there. They lost a couple of players. But Ange came in, and Ange thought, you know what, he's gonna be the rival of the North London White Lilies. So yeah, I think Forest had a poor game, but I think Arsenal made them look poor because of our technicalities, our quality that we have, and I must really say that the players that has come in, the new players, Eze, Gyökeres, Madueke, and even the young centre back. Wow, what a player that is! I mean, I thought the last time we had Saliba out, we had problems with Rob Holding, and this guy came in, and you can't see any difference. So he's just stepped up from the very second that he's walked onto that pitch when Saliba went off. So I think Arsenal had a very, very good game against a decent side. People say, look, it's a weaker team. I don't think so. I mean, Forest has given us in the past few seasons how they've given all the top teams how, and they've been very decent. It's just the new manager bounce doesn't work this time, unfortunately. But Arsenal just had a good time. I think they enjoyed themselves. There is one thing that really sort of I'm probably going to get to that point again later, but there is one thing that is really sort of made me realize that, you know what, we can't still have scripted performances, and there was some scripted performance in that game as well. So, but we'll touch up on later as I think we're gonna get there.
Yeah. Prosper, for you, was it the fact that we were playing against? It was just Nottingham Forest. There was no new manager bounce, or was Arsenal that good?
I wouldn't say Arsenal that good. because if you look at the investments that we've done, like Glenn said, the players, the squad that we've had, and the add-ins that we've brought into the team. You know, when you already have a gelled team and then you bring in good quality players, 2, 3 or so, you only make it better. And if you change the manager, even you become a bit more solid if you've got a decent manager. So I don't think Nottingham Forest would be a good litmus paper to judge our performance from. But I would like to take us a little bit back to the Manchester United game that we had. I wasn't comfortable in that game, because that's the workiest Manchester United will ever have in the Premier League, and we didn't play as well as we did. So I think for Nottingham Forest, as Ben said, it's a decent side. It's been giving us headaches and a lot of difficulties. But I think they have that new manager, new system. They're in that period, and maybe it's good for us that we collected all those points, and it's good for team morale that punched in all those goals, and for the new signings to have those goals. I think it gives us that boost to go forward. But I wouldn't take that game as the game to judge or to test the team from. I think we might demand more from them, like the Athletic. That was a bit more like a game that I would sit down and say, okay, fine, this was quite a heavier game than Nottingham Forest.
Okay. Vincey, I've just seen a comment in the live chat. Someone is quite happy to see you back, man. There you go, Vincey.
Yes, man. Big up yourself. English. Enough love, man. Enough love.
Yeah. Was it a poor Nottingham Forest side, or were Arsenal really that good, Vincey?
I think it's a bit of both. This is a fixture I didn't expect the outcome to be the way it was. I think with Nuno, the way they started Forest this season, the way they were pressing would give Arsenal problems. So with Ange taking over, I think we kind of benefited because I think Forest were quite defensive in parts. And when they decided to start to play some quick passing football, they were able to open us up. So again, that's something where Ange just needs to have confidence, and over time, they've got players that can play good football, but at times it was quite poor. But I think for Arsenal, this is I'm going to be honest, I fell asleep in the last game because we used to seeing the Arsenal patterns of football, and it's it gets a bit monotonous at times. But this was a style of football that I haven't seen Arsenal move the ball the way they were moving. The runs in midfield, when your number 10 getting the ball, he's not looking to do these foolish pirouettes and these flicks. He was, turning and running at teams. So it allowed Eze and Madueke to push forward. So it was encouraging in that regards to see us playing this way. And Madueke is a player that I don't really know much about, and I'm not going to be one of these Arsenal fans and say, "Oh yeah, he's a great buy," and Arteta's going to transform him into this great player, because I didn't see what I'm seeing this season, last season in Madueke. So,
right.
But it was encouraging to see him He's taken a lot of flack from the fans and in the media, and he's applying his game. And that's what we want in that position when he's taken over from Saka. And he's been the main threat in 2 games. So
absolutely,
to see him play the way he played, it's encouraging to see this Arsenal produce these type of goals, have a midfielder shoot from it's like, what's going on? Is this more of what we're gonna experience this season?
But Vincent, why the change? Again, I'm looking at. I don't know. Maybe I was probably a bit harsh on Arteta. When they played against Liverpool. For me personally, it looked like he told the players, we're going to just go there, play for a draw, don't do anything too silly. But against the Forest, it was just expansive football. again, you said the midfielder scoring that worldy goal. You see Eze on the left-hand side. We know he's got quality. To get the ball into the box for Gyökeres, why is this, such a big difference in those games there?
I think this is who Arteta is. He's a safety-first manager, and I've gone on and said that he's going to mirror what George Graham did on his route to his first victory in the Premiership. The way how he set up the team, defense first. What we saw against Liverpool, for me, was too defensive. In midfield, the players just didn't take the onus on a team that were there for the taking in that first half. And then, even though we were in control, it was still 0-0. And against those teams away from home, I think we're going to see a lot of similar performances because that is Arteta. I think where the change has come in is the number 10, because when Mourinho played, it wasn't exciting there. When Odegaard was playing, yes, he started some nice 1-2s, but it was very much similar circle play, coming back deep and so forth. Ranieri, you're not getting that. And I think the onus then was on Rice, Zubamendi, Eze, and Madueke to be positive and attacking in their play. And I think that's what is needed. Arsenal need to have the confidence to know that, yes, we were playing against Ange, and, Ange was cautious, but we can play this football. So it's a case of, we've got a big test coming up this weekend, and, you're going to talk about it later on, and you'll see, okay, Arteta, what's in your mindset? We're at home. Are you going to appease the fans? Are you going to continue with the style of football? Are you going to take it to Man City because they are vulnerable? Or are you going to be defensive and be cautious, and the game can hang in the balance?
Prosper, just something, Vinci just mentioned it about the number 10 rule. I did some post-game reaction when we played against Athletic Club, and a lot of the comments were talking about Eze and Martin Odegaard. Can Arteta not play Eze in the number 10 role?
I think he can, but it all boils down to, as Vince said, Glenn mentioned it in his first comment. He said about scripting the game, over managing the players. If you look at the kind of football that makes Arsenal flow, it's the kind of football that Emil Smith-Rowe was playing. The one where the number 10 breaks in, doesn't hold back and dribble, take on players, and opens that defense wide open. That's the kind of football Arteta doesn't like. He wants the passing game. So if you see the previous game with Nottingham Forest, because there wasn't that safety net, he kind of let the guys play, because I think there was also that issue of saying, Nottingham Forest is not as big a club, we're going to get the 3 points. So he let the guys play free football, and that's why you could see the flow. But any other game, it would be scripted: pass wide, pass wide, pass wide, make that pass wide to Saka, the ball should come back to Odegaard, again wide, wide, wide. Nobody breaking, nobody taking players. So I feel Arteta has to adjust in his game, because now he has all the quality of players he needs. That's what under the bridge probably would have gotten box-to-box defensive midfielder, and that's what lacked in the Liverpool game. You really need that person who can just be a N'Golo Kante, someone who just break play at some point. But we didn't get that in the off season, so that's what under the bridge you have. But all we're saying is, if you overscript the players, you're not buying a player so that they play like a robot. You buying them because of their quality. So as Zubamendi scored from far outside the box, that's what we saw when Partey just came in. We also saw that with Declan Rice when he just came in. But if he had missed those shots, definitely Arteta would have sat him down and said, "This is not how we play football." And that's the end of that game. That part of his game. You see, we've seen it before. It's been happening several times. So I just feel like the manager should believe in the quality of the players a little more. than he does. Yeah.
Yeah. And Glenn, for you, just to top off this stuff about the Nottingham Forest game. Overall, were you pleased or surprised that Arsenal, they had so free flowing? Again, the guys were saying about everything seems so scripted, and so we know what's going to happen on the wings. But were you pleasantly surprised, or you thought, oh well, it's Mikel Arteta?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, look at this home game, and it's obviously like Vinci said, it is Ange Postecoglou, and Ange, he takes it. He always takes his first game. He takes it very, very slow. You obviously want to see and scrutinize what's what and who's who in the zoo. For me, and I want to take it back to Eze's question, or a question that was posed to Eze, and he responded in this way. The question was to him, and it was said, "Do you prefer to play in the center, or do you prefer to play out on the wing?" And the response was, "It's going to be dependent on the game, whatever the game is, and whatever the manager says that game should be. That's gonna, like midweek's game. That was a very scripted performance, and I mean, Vinci said he almost fell asleep because how boring it was. And there was one time where Eze, he went inside, Mikel Arteta called him back to the line. So that is it's so clear. Away from home, and Vinci also mentioned that away from home, we're going to try and be very cautious, and also depend on who we're playing at home. Like this weekend, we're playing Man City, and I think Rodri made a comment, and Richard gave me that statement this afternoon in our group. So welcome back, Richard. He's all the way from Port Elizabeth in South Africa, which is in the Eastern Cape. He said that Rodri is coming there to come and win to the Emirates. So being that bold is going to be a hell of a story, and see how we're going to sort of set up the game. So against the Nottingham Forest, I think Eze should have been in that centre, and then bring up a natural winger, either in Trossard or Martinelli, and him, especially with Odegaard going off, and him being in that center, which I would probably see this weekend coming. Odegaard, I don't think he's going to start. Well, he's probably going to start, but I don't want to see him start. I would want Eze to be in that 10, bring in Martinelli on that left-hand side, and play with the two natural wingers on either side, and have Eze in a big game like this, sort of distributing and maneuvering the center, especially with Zubomendi being so forward-thinking. Zubomendi will give you a pass onto your feet in that middle, because he will give it to you in the middle. Eze will have time to turn, because City's defense is not that good. They are slow guys, and they probably foul you. With Rodri also not 100% in that performance. So with regards to the Nottingham Forest game, the free flowing was there, because it was said, go out and enjoy yourself, and go and play your normal game, and give the fans something to shout about. And that was not surprising, because it's a home game and it was Nottingham Forest. All respect to them, but I think these are the games that you're going to have to get over the line. Remember last season, our home games we lost against Bournemouth, and I think it was Aston Villa. And those are the games we were supposed to win. We were supposed to enjoy ourselves. We were supposed to obviously go and take it to these guys. Now we have the depth. Now we don't have an excuse to say, but I've got Saka injured, I've got Odegaard injured, and I've got Havertz injured. No, we have the depth to go and enjoy ourselves. We have an Eze to come in for an injured or out of form captain. We have a Saka that will be pushed into the center by a Madueke. So we will have all those options, because that is what I think. Saka is going to come more central, because he's going to be pushed out of his own position on the right-hand side by Madueke. And that is going to happen where Saka is going to come into the center. And then they're going to have a feast of who's going to play in the center. Is it Eze, is it Odegaard, or is it Saka? With the manager, I'm not too sure if that's going to happen, but that's what I see is going to happen.
But you prefer an Eze in that number 10 position there? not an Odegaard?
Because I've seen what he's done there, and yes, Odegaard has been good when he was good in that position, but I think Odegaard is too predictable. Eze is unpredictable. You don't know what he's going to do. He's going to drop his left shoulder. He's going to drop his right shoulder, and what is he going to do? He's going to give a ball out wide. Is he going to give a ball through the middle? He is very unpredictable. With Odegaard, everybody knows his game already. With Eze, you don't know yet what you're going to get, and that is the danger. It can go for you and go against you, but I think it would more go for us because of our number 14 is hungry and he has tasted what Eze can give him. So Eze, I prefer in the center.
Okay, all right. Vincey. Vincey, for those who don't know, is actually Martinelli's agent. I am so happy for Martinelli. Did he have a point to prove? Maybe. But Glenwyn is a manager, Vincey. And as managers, it's your job to get the best out of your employee. And I'm looking at Gabby and Martinelli, Vincey. And I'm not sure whether he's been coached properly since he burst on the scene at Arsenal all those years ago. And I always find literally, so he's had an injury, his form's dipped, and I find myself saying the same to Vincey. I hope he does well because I back him. He had some injuries, his form's fallen off. Some of the fan base were on his back. He scored that goal, which for me was very reminiscent, kind of. You remember when we played against Chelsea and he put just bearing down. So your thoughts about your client, Martinelli?
It's a tough one. I understand the situation where Arsenal fans are with Martinelli, but I've been at this point for 2 years now, and what you're seeing with Martinelli is he's doing exactly what Arteta wants him to do. Now, whether we like it or not, we can hate on Nelly, but Arteta's still playing him. And the mere fact that he's using his pace to compensate for the deficiencies that we have at left back is an indication where Martinelli is so defensive and he's substituting his game in attack. Now, when he's free to just run at players, you'll see a completely different player. You see the guy of, was it 2023?
That's right.
22-23, 15 goals. He'll get in. He's a natural striker who likes to take on players. Very similar to Jesus, but he can shoot. The problem with Nenny is that, yes, he's got his head down, but he is quick and he believes in his ability. So he'll always go down the left. He'll always look to take on a player and then look inside and pass the ball because he knows that Arteta, he's doing exactly what Arteta wants him to do: bring the ball forward in stages and track back.
Vince, you're saying he's being played because we have a deficiency on the left-hand side.
Yeah. In left back, it's been the case when Zinchenko was there. I wasn't a big fan of Zinchenko, but it's only now since we've got Calafiori have we got a bona fide left back who can play that position.
He's injury prone, though, isn't he, Calafiori?
Yes, but even with his injuries, he's still, in my eyes, a high caliber left back. And you're seeing now this season the way how he's driving. When he drives forward, he's a handful in the field. He's a real handful. And he can defend. His problem is, and it's always been the case since he was, I think it was Bologna, is his fitness. If he can stay fit, the guys, Arsenal will have a really great season with him playing at left back. What Arteta's, the problem with Martinelli is Arteta hasn't developed Martinelli in the way he should be. And so I don't see him as a left winger. And especially the way how Arteta using him. And you can see now with Ancelotti in Brazil, how he's playing Martinelli for Brazil, and he's given him a little bit more freedom to play. So I'm a firm believer that just because you see a player at one club and the player plays in that way, that's the only way he can play. I've gone on record and said I would be happy. I might have a party the day that Martinelli leaves and goes to another attacking coach, because I want to see the potential that this guy has. But I'm a firm believer the manager is holding him back, and he's got a huge dilemma because he brought Trossard in, and Trossard and Martinelli on the left-hand side are swapping minutes. Now he's brought in Eze. Eze's, in my eyes, isn't a left winger, even though he played in that position. And Eze's ability will challenge Arteta as to, okay, are you going to improve Eze? Are you going to prove Arsenal to allow the flexibility across the midfield? Or are you going to take away from Eze's game and pigeonhole him in that left-hand side? That's how we're going to see this season present. But I'm just so pleased that Martinelli's got the goal.
Yeah,
I still believe it's good that he's coming up on the bench. It's nice to give Eze his moment. Trossard can play there. I don't want any more pressure on Martinelli. I just want him to be with the manager who's going to develop him, because that's a reflection on Arteta. And I think fans get on his back because they see left wingers and they want Martinelli to play as a left winger. He's not a left winger.
Will you start him on Sunday, Vinci?
No.
No.
I'll be happy Martinelli doing what he does now, coming on the second half, grabbing a goal, and because he's going to challenge Arteta's management, and that's the biggest thing that I want. Since how we won the FA Cup, and the way how Arteta was very tactical in having Maitland-Niles play a position and do a job on Salah, and then do a job on De Bruyne. We're not seeing that Arteta, and that's where we need to see Arteta in these big games. He's using Martinelli for his pace, but as in defense. But Arsenal haven't been utilising his pace in attack. So you stop and you think, well, if you've got to play with all that ability of pace, burning pace, how many times have we put the ball over the top for Martinelli in situations? It hasn't been there. So I think Pep knows that Martinelli is a threat, and he's always had Kyle Walker in previous seasons to deal with players with pace. It's going to be interesting to see how City do deal with players running at them, because if Madueke runs and he continues to form, it's going to be interesting to see how they adjust. It could be a weapon for him to use, but I can't see Arteta doing that.
You sound like a real agent, Vince.
I tell you, it's like, I could be an agent now. I could be a manager in about 5 minutes. I could be a player. I think of these players and their abilities and how I used to play it, and I recognise and I say, you know what? If he's in the right hands, you can get a tune out of Martinelli.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can get a tune out of him.
Yeah, Prosper, your thoughts about the game against an Athletic Club, and especially just been talking about Martinelli. Has he progressed? He's not progressed. Has he regressed? Is it Arteta's fault? Your thoughts, Prosper?
I've always said this, and I'm sorry. I've always looked at as the black sheep of the Arsenal fans, and for a good reason. We have to look at facts as they are, like Vinci was saying. Paper for paper, Martinelli for me was that raw talent. Actually, when Martinelli came, to me, he was better than Saka. Because I remember the first game he played, he had to send Prime Kante crawling, and he scored against Chelsea. That's the Martinelli I wanted to be playing in the Arsenal team. The guy that is made to run, take on players, have a lot of space ahead of him to take on players. But when Arteta came in, he came in with a conceived mind of every player that belonged to the previous Arsenal manager must be chucked out, something like that. So he had this negative attitude towards Martinelli, Emil Smith Rowe. He couldn't do anything about Saka because I think there's also that fan base that is always behind Saka, so he was protected. And because of his role, he never had a substitute on his side. But if you look at how Martinelli has been handled, it's just fortunate that he's a guy who doesn't give up and he's patient. When he's put on the bench, he doesn't complain. Next time you need him, he will come and perform for the team, even when he knows he's not the favorite. Because every substitute, when Arteta is run out of idea, Martinelli is the first guy to take off the pitch, even when he's performing. You see? So you find that, as Vince was saying, when Arteta came in, he won those trophies because he was playing to the players' advantages. We have a lot of pace in that Arsenal team. Why should we clog the last quarter of the pitch as if we have those ball handling players? We don't have those ball skills. One, maybe Eze now is here and Saka's improved his baby there. But we don't have those players that can keep the ball like Barcelona does. You see, so we have to play to our strengths. What do we have? We have a lot of pace in our team. So let's play the ball in the center of the pitch, leave a lot of space for the pacey players to attack the ball. You see? But Arteta wants them to play. So how do you play Martinelli with all that pace and leave him with a very little space to take on players, you know? And even when you put him in the game, you don't give the freedom that you give Trossard. Trossard is allowed to come in. When Martinelli just came to Arsenal, he would cut in and take shots on goal. Arteta doesn't like that about Martinelli. But you never see Trossard to the byline. You never see him do that. You see? He always wants Martinelli to go to the byline and cross in so that others can score. You see? And that's why fans don't get it. Because if Martinelli was allowed to play like Trossard is allowed to play, when Trossard is in the game, all the midfielders give him that space. They don't go as much forward. You never see Declan Rice going forward because he knows you close that place where Trossard has to run in, cut in the ball. So he stays forward. But when Martinelli is in the game, all those guys push forward and then they bring all those defenders in that middle place where he has to cut in. Then Martinelli is forced to go wide. You see, and it's fortunate that Martinelli has picked up his game and now he can cross the ball. But Martinelli is not a winger. Martinelli is a striker. And if Arsenal is huge from Martinelli, we're supposed to play a 4-3-3, not a 4-5-1, not a 4-1-4-1. No. You see, so for me, I think it's about the manager understanding the strengths of his players and knowing which game to play. Like, for example, we're going to face Man City. There's no way we're going to be in control of the ball with Man City. So we have to play with our strengths. We're supposed to say, okay, fine, guys, our game now here is going to be counter-attack. So who do you need in the counter-attack game? You need Martinelli. You need fast players on the ball, the guys with pace. Because definitely Man City is going to hold the ball. But you find that Arteta will put in players that are supposed to keep possession. But you cannot match City when it comes to possession game. So you have to play your strengths. And how he lines up players also matters because as Glenn was saying, when you're talking about formation, when you have Eze in, you have an option of what is he going to do? He's going to do the extraordinary, the Ronaldinho, the extraordinary. He's not going to do the Modric pass basic football. He's going to do the Ronaldinho stuff. And Ronaldinho was playing exactly at the position where Eze is playing because he's going to do something amazing. So when you have Eze in and we have Odegaard in, you can push back Odegaard to center midfield because Odegaard can pick a pass. He can read the game. He's not a fast player. Like Coutinho plays, like Andre Pirlo used to play. You can put Odegaard in that position and let Eze go a bit forward so that you unlock that defense for these guys like Martinelli and Saka to have that space that they need to operate in. So it's all about him understanding that not one system works for every game. You see, he has to do the that he has and juggle them according to the game that's coming. So the City game, I expect Martinelli to start because we need the counter-attack pace. You know, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we'll start. Glenwyn, Martinelli. Where would you play him? Where would you play him, Glenwyn?
Sorry, I said it early on. I will play him. Look. When he scored against Liverpool last season away at Anfield, he scored from the center because he came into the center. And when on Tuesday night, he scored also again from the center. And most of his other goals where we put the pass through over the top, he will be in the center. It's very seldom that he will come from the left-hand side and score a goal like that. He will probably open up his body and maybe do with that. But his goals come from a central position. For the sake of Mikel Arteta, we play against City this coming week. This game he played against Bilbao, he was more centrally, and him and Trossard swapped a little bit. And I think he's very strong. Once he said it as his agent, Martinelli is not a winger. Martinelli is a centre forward, and I've watched him in the Brazil games. He's very fluent in when he's free, and I've mentioned it before. We need our players to be free. We can't be scripted all the time. So Martinelli, for me, he probably won't start up front. He will start on the left-hand side, but he has to give Martinelli some sort of rein. Let go of the leash a bit. Vinci made a good point earlier on. He will give you so much different dynamic to the game where defenders can't fathom what he's going to do now because of his pace and because of his skill. We don't know. We have seen the skill before when he came to Arsenal, but we don't see that skill anymore. And a Brazilian, if his skill is taken away from him, natural skill, he will die as a footballer because he can't express himself. I'm a Brazilian supporter in the national team. I love Brazilian football because of the olden Brazilian games, the Ronaldos, the Bebetos, the Leonardos, all those sort of guys. And Martinelli has that old school Brazilian about him. He needs to express himself. You can see his skill when he goes past players, and he needs to express himself. And once he have done that, he will bring in the midfield. He will bring in the striker. He will bring in the right winger. He will cut back and he will 45 back into the center for Rice to maybe pick up a ball. So Martinelli, for me, is not going to start. He's probably not going to start in a Premier League game anytime soon. He'll probably start in Carabao Cup, FA Cup, here and there will start the Premier League. Hopefully that Gyökeres will not get injured, or Eze or Trossard, to be forced to start. He needs to have that ability by the manager, or rather the trust by the manager, to express his ability. That is it for me.
But Glenwyn, I'm just thinking, do we see the best of Martinelli when we're coming against teams who play like, with a high line, like Man City? In those situations there is a lot of space, behind the defense. And if you look at the goal he scored against Bilbao, they played a high line and he had all that space to run into. But when it comes against teams that play in a low block, is he not going to struggle, Glenwyn?
Yeah, for sure. Because when we play teams with a low block, then it becomes a very scripted performance because the manager wants to have his hand in it. City, I think, his assist to Calafiori at Etihad last season came from a ball over the top. The goal against Aston Villa a few seasons ago, it came from the top, over the top. The goal against Chelsea, where I think Prosper mentioned it early on, where he beat that midfielder.
Kante.
It went also through over the top in his own half. So most of the balls, because of his pace, will go through over the top. And against City, that's why I say I would want him to start against City. Put Eze in the center, put him on the left wing, because the right back for City, that guy, that's a new guy, I can't pronounce his name, he's very suspect. He can foul Martinelli in 5 minutes. And then he's going to have to be very, very careful. And what freaks me out and frustrates me is when a wing or a left back or a center back or somebody has got a yellow card, we don't create an opportunity to perform dark arts to get that player sent off. We have to start doing that because teams does it against us. Last night, Haaland showed to the crowd, this guy must get a red card because he's fouled him. And that's part of dark arts. He has suggested that this guy must get a red card in that game against Napoli. So we have to somehow exercise our power of being part of this dark arts, whereby if Martinelli or Saka or somebody gets a yellow carded foul from somebody else, they need to press on that guy, because therefore we will get, even if we don't get the guy sent off, we will get past him because he has to be careful. And those are the things that we sort of have to exercise with Martinelli on Sunday.
I'm sorry. I think Vince is probably bursting to say something. Glenn Wynn, that's down to the manager. He doesn't allow the players to express themselves. He doesn't allow the players to think for themselves. Because if I was at the situation where I've just received a yellow card inside 5 minutes, I'll be fearful that the attacker is going to try and provoke me to get sent off. Why is it the players cannot do that, like you say there? Why are they not allowed to do that? Why can I not see the situation inside 5 or 10 minutes? One of the fullbacks or the defenders has just received a yellow card. Your mind will say, you know what, let's provoke him again, or he's going to be a little bit more cautious to make a tackle. Is that not right, Vincey?
Yeah, it's a smart play. We're so scripted that we're not making. It's like was it 2 seasons ago we played Pepe. We played against Pepe in defence, and he was on the yellow card, and we had to go to penalties, and it's like, how can you have a guy who's
especially if it's a player, that's got a big impact in the game, like like a Pepe, like a Van Dijk, like somebody like that, the big players. You know what I mean? Sorry, Vinci.
Yeah, Pepe had his freedom pass, and we're sitting down there, making sure he's all right on the pitch, not putting a challenge in. And it's, we've all played football. You don't allow those players that time on the ball.
You know what? Let's break. Let's go into the live chat and see who has joined us for this particular Easy Talk. So Richard is, I think, Glenn, you mentioned before, he's in your group.
In South Africa,
yeah. Thank you for joining us, Richard. Again, I think you came on to the instant post-game reaction I did for this game, actually, Atletico Bilbao. And like I said, the English Club says, Vincey! You got to find out there. Who was to have here? All right. And then he goes on to say, well, I'm sure that he's been allowed to play, and he knows that he might not always get the start. Therefore, he must take the chances when they are given. Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm not going to debate. So let's just read the comments in the live chat there. There's something else I saw there. I'm sure that shall change, and I'm sure that there shall be rest games as well. Yeah, but it's about rotation, isn't it, Prosper? You've got to rotate the squad. Like I said, there's more quality and there's more depth, Prosper.
Yeah, I think Arteta has no excuse this time around. I mean, you can't have a perfect 100% team. If there's an excuse he has to give, I think we have to blame it on him, because he didn't buy some two players that We needed another a natural centre forward, and a box-to-box defending midfielder, and that's up to him. That's not up to the fans or the owners of the team. But either way, we've seen teams accomplish good things with a squad like Arsenal. I've seen PSG. It hasn't got the natural players in every position, but they've worked with what they've got and they've achieved great things. So, for me, I think if Arteta would evolve from his script, and I think he has a way in which he reads the game. Only him understands it, but on the pitch, it doesn't really work out at a crucial point where we need to have the points, we need to win the games. So, like everyone was saying, we don't utilize those dirty tricks that Mourinho has been using on us ever since he came to Arsenal. The dirty tricks where somebody has a yellow card, put Eze there so that he goes and dribbles that person, Martinelli there. We don't use all those things. So it's kind of difficult to blame it on Martinelli and say he's been given the opportunity. I mean, if you give me a gun and tell me you don't have to fire this gun, even if I have a gun in my hand, I'll be killed. But if you tell me, if you see anything suspicious, use the gun for what it's meant for, I'll use it for what it's meant for. And for Martinelli, his position in the Brazilian national team, one must ask, that's the highest level of football. If you're talking about Brazil, Spain, and those are the highest levels of football, maybe even higher than England, There's Brazil, Spain, they're at the top, France, and Martinelli has kept his position regardless of how he's been played at Arsenal. That should tell you something about how he's regarded as a player. And as a manager, it's good to humble yourself sometimes and look at how is this player being played by other guys? How are they getting the best? Not just being strict and saying, okay, you're going to play like this, you're going to play like this. And Declan Rice too, I don't think, for me, I felt like, okay, when Declan Rice came in and we have this situation where Party left, I think it's about time we started saying, okay, Declan Rice has got the space, there's got the pace and the stamina. Why can't we start naturalizing him as a defensive midfielder in the time that we don't have a natural defensive midfielder? Instead of all attack, Mendy all attack, Declan Rice all attack, and then we're left with a gap in the mid that, like Nottingham Forest started taking advantage of, Athletic Madrid also, that space, and Liverpool exposed us in that sense. So it's just one of those that everything falls back to the manager. We can't blame the players. The quality of players we have at Arsenal, honestly, we've had for the past 3-4 seasons are good players. So we can't blame it on the manager. Has to wake up. The Liverpool manager comes in, gets the trophy. And if you look player for player, that wasn't a Liverpool team that you compare with Arsenal, because we had more experience. So it's only a few players that could count, like Salah and Van Dijk and everything. But the midfield guys, the midfield guys that were there, the youngsters, they're young players. You can't compare them with Declan Rice. But they got the league. It's all about the manager.
Okay, let's just take a quick break. I've got a surprise for Vincey and Prosper. I hope they do like this little surprise for them. So we're going to be back just after this short video. Just have a look at this. That's easy talk, and that is about our right back. For the panel, who would you bring in as a Partey's replacement? Seema.
Oh my God. I don't know, to be honest. I mean, I cannot wait to see what Timber's going to do next season. So I'm so excited for that. I didn't even realise that Partey was going until now. So, because I haven't been on my phone all day. And, but I don't know. Because I think Duran will just fit in with Odegaard and Rice and, he'll play it. So, yeah.
Okay, Des, for you, replacement for. I mean, maybe you could play right back.
I'll be honest with you. I don't.
No, it's starting. Maybe.
I beg your pardon. Sorry, say what? Was that?
Maybe you can play right back. Can you play right back?
I could dust my boots off. I'll give it a go.
All right. Okay. All right.
No,
manage that player within his confines, and let him give something to the team that nobody else gives. Because this whole business of, oh, he disagrees with me or something, go away, it doesn't help us.
I have been told that
Autograph, please. Autograph. Can I get a picture?
when I used
everybody hide your walkers, Chris.
don't
Hide your walkers.
Exactly.
Oh, that's one of my blessings. If only I could play like him. I tried. Love it.
Dear. There was one question I wanted to get everyone's opinion on before we wrap up the class.
Oh, quality.
I had to search the library of the Voices to find that snippet there.
Oh my word, that was awesome.
Oh, Thierry Henry.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. Wow. What a show.
Oh, wow, man.
Welcome back, Vincey.
Thanks, man. It's always good, man. As I say, laughter.
Yeah, man.
Those memories, man. Those memories.
All right, listen, let's get on with the remaining two more topics. So we know Sunday. I think it's going to be a bit of a needle in this one. Stay humble, eh? Stay humble. Stay humble. I'll go to Glenman for this. Versus Erling Haaland. Now, I was checking the stats, trying to compare like for like, and I arrived at a website and it gave me goals expected. Actually, you know what? It was just too much for me. It was just too much. But Glenman, your thoughts? Who do you think is going to come up on top come Sunday?
You know what? We know what Haaland is, what he can do, how he does it game in, game out. He does it in every big match. He scores against us all the time. I think this cannot be compared unless we've seen what Gyökeres can do against teams like the Cities, like the Uniteds, like the Liverpools. I'm hoping for his sake he can do well against these big games. Haaland, for me, if whoever's going to play Mosquera or Saliba, and Gabriel will contain him as they normally do. Eze to give Gyökeres that opportunity. Maybe then we can see a difference. However, I think Haaland is not a complete striker, but given a chance, he will parry it. He will put it away. He will just kill you with it. And I think they've played again to Haaland's strength. Now the midweek game last week against United, they played to his strength. So if we don't play again to Gyökeres' strength, and I think it's going to be a total mismatch to start off with, because as I say, you can't compare the two yet, because Haaland has been 3 or 4 seasons in the Premier League. Gyökeres is his 4th game. This will be his 5th. Although he has done so much numbers, I think there's no comparison between the two. Haaland is going to come on top of this one. If he scores against us, that will just, again, prove a point. If he's going to be contained like they normally do, contain him in most times, and Gyökeres come off with a goal, then that's the start of a good rivalry between the strikers. But for me, Haaland is a better striker at this stage.
Prosper for you. Gyökeres, Haaland.
As for me, the Haaland is not a stage as per se. Like Glenn has said, we have to understand we're playing at 2 different levels and with 2 different kind of soccer philosophies. Pep Guardiola has managed a lot of forward. in his career. Arteta, to this day, hasn't successfully managed a centre forward on his record. So Pep Guardiola, Haaland doesn't got to do a lot of work in that City team because everybody knows how to pass him the ball, where to find him, and the manager knows where to position for him to get the goals. Hasn't mastered that part of the game. That's where Arsenal is just. If Arsenal could pick up that part, we would be champions, winning trophies. But Arteta hasn't mastered the centre forward part of the game. So already on the technical side of things, Haaland has got a better advantage. The next thing is possession. Which side of the ball? Which side of the pitch is the ball going to be at? If it's an Arsenal side, Haaland will have more chances on shots on goal. If Gyökeres is isolated, there's nothing he can do without going on his feet or with a good pass. You see, so there's all those dynamics. So to put pressure on, say, Haaland versus who's gonna come out of, as Glenn said, it also goes back to the defenders. If the defenders lock Gyökeres in or lock Haaland in, and the other guy has an opportunity, they might score. So there's a lot of dynamics. I think it'd be unfair to start comparing. Let him just have a good game. Let him rattle those Man City defenders. Make them feel he's there. You know, for this game, let him just boss them around. Next game, maybe should put pressure on them. That's how we develop in football. But to give him that headache, he has to outdo Haaland. I don't think it will be an easy thing because there are a lot of parameters or dynamics that we have to consider.
Yes, Vince, I just seen a comment in the live chat. I'll get your thoughts about whether Arsenal can win the Premier League. Man City, Arsenal, Sunday.
It's a tough one. I think Haaland's comfortable in this position. He's comfortable with his team. I think the problem as Arsenal fans, we've seen Gyökeres put the ball in the net frequently. It's whether or not we're going to give him the opportunities to do that. And I think that's going to be the biggest frustration that we're going to have until Arteta is willing to really play Gyökeres' style of football. You know, if it's a tight game, Gyökeres may not get the opportunities and the chances that he needs to show what he can do. But if it's a little bit stretched and the ball's put in, I believe that he can manhandle Stones at the back and
Diaz
and give Edison some challenging shots because he knows where the goal is. So I think that the biggest challenge we have to play to our players' strengths. We've got a system. We're playing a giant in Man City who know that right now we've got their number. The way we smacked them last season, they're coming for revenge. It's whether or not I'm picturing whether or not we're going to get the ball up early for the likes of Gyökeres to test out his pace and strength and see whether or not he can get a shot on. That's my challenge. I've got Gyökeres in my fantasy team, and it's when it comes to fantasy, I kind of it's hard to really trust Arsenal attacking players, but there's a desire that, you know what, if only they can just open up a little bit more, be a little bit more expansive, we'll see Gyökeres be what Haaland was in his first season. And the game on Sunday could actually bring that about. My biggest worry is the movement of Reinders, Foden coming back to form.
Yeah.
This could be a problem if we don't get our game plan right.
Yeah. Well, I've actually predicted that Man City will win the Premier League, Vinci. But in this conversation club, they want to know what are your thoughts.
It's a hard one because, you know, for the past 2 years I've gone and said Arsenal can go out and win the league, and I've seen what they've done, and I have not been impressed. So technically speaking, Arsenal can win the league. Do I have faith Arsenal's going to win the league? No, because we don't start well. You can put calendar month of October, November, and we'll all have PTSD of the previous years and how we played. So we have to start well to give us the opportunity to have a foothold in the chances of winning the league. It would be amazing. It will actually be unprecedented if they were to do it this year, with the amount of changes that the teams had. Losing Partey and coming with Zubimendi, it probably would be unheard of with the amount of changes that we've got in the team for Arsenal to do that and win the league. And I think next year is our best chance. But I'm tired of waiting, man. I'm seriously like, come on. Does the Saka have to be in his 30s for us to be winning? He's getting up there now. It's
getting halfway.
Yeah. We've all waited too long for this. But, I think the safest bet is Arteta has to prove to us that he's prepared to make the changes to allow us to be in that position. Because it still hurts us being so far ahead and losing. It still hurts going up to the Etihad and playing for a draw. And in a game and losing the game, the league by 1 point, and you stop and you think that Arsenal team, City were still favoured to win that league, and we were that close. So you see the squad that we've got now, everything should be in our favour, but again, it's down to the manager, and I'm not Arteta in, I'm not Arteta out, but I'm Arteta. Just do it. Just do it. That's where I am now.
All right. Prosper, do you want to say some final words before we wrap up?
About us winning the league, well, it's all about the manager. Experience is a big thing in football. You're dealing with about 30 players, 35 players, and how to make and every player, and down to the technical side of the game, the training regimes, all that bites us because the manager hasn't had that much experience. A player plays in another team very well, no injuries, comes to Arsenal, frequent injuries.
Yeah.
So there are all those things that we have to look at. And then when it comes to December, I've never seen Arsenal, especially the Arteta Arsenal, be proactive and say, okay, this is where we have gaps. Let's go in fast, buy that player that we need, so that, because we usually crumble between December and February. So during that crumbling time, we maintain, if we are top two, we stay there in contention and in all trophies. So we beef up the team. We stay there. You have to learn a lot from football. I remember the other time Sir Alex Ferguson had to bring in Henry Claesson from retirement just to make Manchester United win the league. He saw that he had a striker problem. He had to bring in Henry Claesson, the guy who was at Barcelona, the Swedish guy, from retirement. And they had to sign him for that half of the season just for him to win the league. At times, you have to make those crazy decisions and say, we have to get this and this a player for us for that player to help us cross that finish line. So for me, I feel it's all about the manager. And if it goes this time around, we don't have to do anything because the squad is already that good. We just have tried, or we've been patient enough. Let's look at other managers and see where they can take us.
Yeah. You know what? I remember Glenwyn asking me a few years ago, am I Arteta in or out? And I'll say now, I'm Arteta out, Glenwyn. For me, I've seen enough. Now, there can be no excuse. I think he's quite lucky to have come to still one of the biggest clubs in the land, survive for this time, not win major honours. And I know people are going to hate the comparison with Unai Emery, who was sacked after 18 months. Arteta has spent so much money to get to this point. and still hasn't brought us major honours. For me, I'm Arteta out. And even if he wins the Premier League, even though I think he's not going to win it, I am Arteta out. I have seen enough, and I'm fed up. I've drawn a line. He's not the guy to get Arsenal over the line, Glenwyn. Arteta out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair point.
Just a
fair
comment.
point.
If you look at the Liverpool manager, he just came in, wasn't in the Premier League, and he won the league. So what excuse has Arteta got? But it all boils down to experience. If you've managed players before, you understand this young player, the young players Arteta has been selling, this young player needs to be nurtured in this way, to be handled in this way. You can't shout at him. I like the comment that Lewandowski made on social media. I think he said the young players of today, they don't need a hair dryer kind of management. You shout at them, they go low. So you have to understand all those dynamics, Like, okay, I have to handle this care for them to mature into a brilliant player. I think Arteta has mastered all those parts of his game. If a player doesn't perform in this game, you put him on the bench till his first choice is injured, which is a wrong philosophy, So there are all those things that really make us lose a point or two or three, and then at the end of the season, we'll carry them.
Vinci, any words?
Yeah. For me, it's really down to the captain. You have a captain that's going to drive this team over from the years of pain of coming so close. You'll see that in the style of how we go from game to game, and that will be a good indicator for me as to whether or not Arsenal can win the league. Right now, Odegaard as captain, being injured, not at his best. I'm not sure how we're going to do that. If we, again, do that and Odegaard plays like that, it'll be unprecedented because you really need your captain to drag you through games. And is Odegaard going to do that? And that's the problem we have. That's why I can understand where you are, Alex, with being Arteta out, because it's you can't make excuses for some of the things that you've done at a big club like Arsenal after years of not getting there, and then years of having Arsene Wenger give us a style of football and take us on dreamland. I understand where Arteta is in his football philosophy from Barcelona, but now you've got some of the mistakes, some of the cautiousness that you're doing in certain games when you can clearly see Arsenal have the upper hand. Liverpool are leaking goals, and we're struggling. I'm dribbling on my sofa, falling asleep in the game. No.
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't want us to play beautiful football every time. We've won ugly against United. We did not have a good performance. What I want us to do is that all those games, everybody's saying we must win the big guys, we must win them. Yes, if we win them, it's a good thing. But there will always be the narrative. If we can't beat the big guys, you won't win the league. The league is not won by beating Liverpool, by beating Man City, by Chelsea, by beating Tottenham alone. There's 19 other teams we're going to have to play. And we're playing them twice a season. So if we can beat all our home games and all the games that we should be winning away, we should win the league by playing football that will win us games. Liverpool is not playing very well. All their goals that they've scored was in the last 10 minutes of the normal time, some in extra time, and they have not been playing good football. They won ugly, and people are saying that is the sign of champions. That is, champions find a way to win. The narrative for Arsenal will be, if we score last minute goals like we've done 2 seasons ago, we scored that last minute goal against United, against Bournemouth, against, I think it was Brighton, whoever, and it was said it cannot be contained that way. We don't need to score the last minute of the game. All we need to do is to take our chances and win the game. And this is going to come up, all said it has come on to the manager. The manager has to have his head screwed on properly, not against big teams, against every other team. Burnley can hit us, they can kill us. Sunderland can hit us, they can kill us. Everton can kill us. Chelsea, Crystal Palace, they can kill us. Bournemouth can kill us. Likewise can United, Chelsea, Spurs, Liverpool, and City. We need to get to this manager in his mind. He must get himself out of his mind. He's fighting against himself. And he's not going to win a league if he's not going to come up with the players that he's got his disposal now. Has to be free. Rice has to be free. Eze has to be free. And Vinci, you asked me a question there. Will Eze number 10 not mean that Zubi and Rice play their game? The point for Eze to be number 10, Zubi will stand in that 6th role. Rice will be the freedom one. So in my mind, if Eze plays 10, Rice will be a free launch player. And Zubimendi has the ability, like he has shown us, to kill every ball down. And if that freedom comes, you will get a Jokeres running into a space for a ball that will be given to him. Madueke will run into a space, he will cut back and will give a ball to him and possibly score a goal. Our freedom in that midfield will be so coherent. The cohesion will be so mentally challenged to the manager, because you would understand it, because those players is so technically gifted that they will understand each other, but the manager can't do it. They have to do it themselves. So for me, Mikel Arteta plays against himself. He's his own enemy, and if he's not giving the guys the freedom, he will not win the league.
Vinci.
Yeah, Glenn, I'll just say this one thing. Arsenal, when we won 89, we went away to Anfield. We got the result. When we won the league at Manchester United, we took the league. I think teams that want to start and create a dynasty, it's not so much your home games, it's your away games in these big fixtures. When we draw, we give away the momentum, and we show that we're not prepared to take it at their ground. And Arsenal have a deficiency with anxiety because we've been close. And there will be elements this year where we will be close and that anxiety will kick in. And those games are going to come back to haunt when we haven't taken those opportunities. Because, believe it or not, Burnley's defence is very good.
Yeah.
Very good. We have challenges in our attack. So if we're not on our game in that fixture and that ends in a draw, that's probably even worse than if you look at it, losing or drawing against Man City at home or losing at Anfield. So we have to be near perfect in these other games, and that's a big challenge for any team to do that. So I do think that when Arsenal are in the position where they are playing teams and they have the upper hand, is being bold. I think it's time enough now that this Arsenal squad, they're not young pups anymore. Be bold.
Yeah.
You've tasted the pain of defeat, and in too many times now, it's your time. As I always said this week, go and get it.
Yeah.
They can go and get it. And if they do that, it's not about being cavalier, but in those moments, you'll see these young pups grow into men overnight. And this league, we'll all be meeting up in Islington with our shirts off, having a great. You know what I mean? Because that's all that needs to happen. You know.
But Vincey, here's the thing, right? So you're talking about when push comes to shove, we have that anxiety. The manager has to prepare the players. Come in there with the right mentality. When push comes to shove, we don't have the fear factor anymore. Where's the fear factor gone?
The fear factor's there because the fear factor's lost because they're not playing their natural football. I mean, I don't know if you're like me, but I have anxiety watching some of the directions Arteta gives in play, where it should just be telepathic and natural to pass the ball in some of these situations. And this is where anxiety comes in, because if you're constantly getting directions on what to do, you're not comfortable in when the ball comes to you. What should I do in this situation? Instinct is a key thing for players with high IQ, high ability. But if you're having someone shouting at you and telling you, you know what, pass that ball back to Zubomendi for him to, I actually thought the way how our midfield played in that first 70 minutes against Liverpool was criminal, because they were there for the slaughter. And so many times it was just Madueke just running at Liverpool. And Marina was like, he was not interested to support him. And you can't have that. You just can't have that on the pitch. So I do think we just got to get over this line thinking that, you know what, we are inferior to Liverpool. We're inferior to Man City. We've shown before we can match against them. We have reinforcements. And if players aren't producing the goods during the game, the manager has shown he's prepared to make changes. We've just got to seize the moment.
Yeah. That's where the freedom comes from. You need to have that freedom. And that's the only way you're going to see players going to perform and express themselves, because of their technical abilities. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know where we're going to go with this, because every rival fan, they laugh at us already, because on Sunday we're going to lose in their mind. On Sunday we're gonna be battered by the rival fans in their mind. That is what they're saying.
It's heartbreaking. I think, as Grenion said, Arteta, he fights against himself. I think at times, if you look at a player like Arteta, him as a player did a lot, and then him as a center midfielder, if you look at his purchases, they are mostly concerned in the midfield, and he wants the players to play like he used to play. And look at his game; he didn't win a lot of trophies, so he doesn't have that feel of this is what success means. This is how it feels to be at the top of the game. I remember on the chat, I think last season, just after the season ended, there was that debate: how is Chelsea playing the World Cup, the World Club Cup, and everything? So I raised the point that look at Chelsea. Chelsea won't play beautiful. There's never, since the Drogba era, the Mourinho era, I've never watched a Chelsea game in full. Only if they're playing a good team. But Chelsea playing any other team, but they'll produce a result. So I made a comment that Chelsea wins games. There's that winning mentality where they go there and they say, we don't have to play pretty. Yes, PSG has been winning, but let's just go and win the game. That's what Tottenham did last season, and they came out with the trophy. They've been poor, they've been whacked. Their team, they came out with the trophy. And where's Arsenal? We're still fighting ourselves. We don't know what we're doing in the pitch. We don't know when to cross the line. So I feel that we've lost, the teams have lost respect and the fear factor for Arsenal because of us. It's not up to them, but we have let go of our boss position and we've subscribed to mediocre. We've become an average team that everybody can bully a good day.
But I'm just looking at the photo that I chose here with Gabriel and Erling Haaland. Why can't Mikel Arteta? I mean, if you saw the interview that Tony Adams did when he spoke about Arsenal, obviously, and the captain position there, that the captain is a reflection of the manager and vice versa. When I look at Martin Odegaard, for me, he's not going to be the person to, tell players, because like Vincent, like you said there, it would drive me crazy to have a manager shouting instructions. Why not have the captain telling the players how they should be playing, how they should be defending, how they should be attacking? Martin Odegaard is just not that captain. Why not have a Declan Rice? Why not have a Gabriel as the captain? Looking at the picture there, you can see he's not going to give any quarter. He'll give 110% for every single game.
Can I pick that first?
Do you know, if you guys remember when Arteta used to play, I can kind of understand why he went for Odegaard as captain.
Why is that, Vinci?
Because they were very similar type of players. They were very. You know that Tony Adams, Gabriel, Arteta's not that type of. He's not that guy, and I've always said, guys, it's not. People laugh, but if we don't get to see what happens in training, other than those foolish little clips that they put on video, but we get to see in 90 minutes what happens in training, because it's evident there isn't a natural way of playing football. It's a directive from Arteta. The ball must be here. You've got to be in this position, and that's where we have to evolve, because you see these guys individually, or they play for their country. It's free. It's free football.
Prosper, you want to say something?
Yeah. Just to add on what Vincent said, you see, we can always talk about Odegaard, but Odegaard is their captain in Haaland, and Haaland is a big name in football, but he is their captain in the national team and probably other good players. But why doesn't he bring it back to Arsenal? It all comes back to the manager. Look at Arteta's track record. Every captain, every player that has been the vocal type at Arsenal has been booted out of the club. The Tierney's, all those captains, he has issues. He booted out. He wants a captain that's docile, a captain that doesn't talk, a meek one. You see? So we can go around blaming on Odegaard, but I mean, if you can captain Haaland at the level Haaland has been, you can Mbappe. Mbappe is a young player, but with the records that he's had, he has been given the captain back. But it hasn't happened at Haaland or Odegaard's national team. Why? Because Odegaard has a lot of authority in that team. You see? Why doesn't it happen at Arsenal? Arteta doesn't want a captain that can tell the manager, shut up, we're going to talk on our own. Like I remember he gave Ancelotti or Jose Mourinho saying, there was a time I was told to sit there and the players are going to handle it, and the captain handled the team at halftime. Arteta will not let a captain do that. He wants to be in control of everything. And if a captain says, let's do this or take a shot, where Arteta said pass wide, the captain will face the hit. You see? So it's all up to the manager,
Oh dear, I feel exhausted, man. I think we've come to an end. I know there's been a couple more comments in the live chat there, and John Guna, good evening, John, says get the process done. Well, for me, the process is done. I'm finished. I'm finished with Mikel Arteta. I literally have had enough. And we've got a resident Liverpool supporter, Carl, says hi everyone. He puts in a silly comment in the live chat. I think both teams to lose at the weekend, whatever that means.
You've got the first game to lose.
And Vinci says, that's why I told Nelly and not to rock the boat so his agent can get his commission. Give me 10%, man. Give me 10%.
I need to eat too. I need to eat too.
Just to add another comment to spice it up. You look at the situation of Manchester United, and you look at Rashford. He goes to Barcelona, he's playing free football. He's a happy guy. Come to England, micromanaging players, and then they put the blame on the players and everything. But we all know it's the managers that are locking the players. You know, as I stated at the beginning of this show, you don't buy a player as if you're buying a robot. You buy a player according to their skills, their talent. So why don't you let them play according to their skills and talent? You see, so Rashford now is becoming a household Barcelona. You see, at Manchester United, it was that send him to loan guy. You know, so it's just these simple basics that we're missing at Arsenal.
Do you know what we've come to an end? Oh, actually, Vinci, go on, Vinci, go. I'll give you the last word. Go.
I'm going to say, and many Arsenal fans would not have taken Rashford at Arsenal. They wouldn't have taken him, but he's a talent, and he's still young enough to still kick on from where he was at Man United. So it's a great point that you made there, Prosper, because the guys, you watched that game last night, he was unstoppable.
Yeah. Do you know what? We've come to an end on this particular Easy Talk. I will be doing back-to-back Easy Talks. Usually I give myself 2 weeks. But we've got a special guest. We've got a female contributor. You know what? She's Arteta out. And I've been told she's quite fiery. I have invited her on to the Easy Talk, and I can't wait. So, Vince, if you fancy coming on again, Glenn,
By all means, I'll come on.
All right, yeah. It's going to be a fiery one next week. But Glenn Wynn, brother Glenn Wynn, my brother from another mother. Listen, Glenn Wynn, again, thank you for coming on back to back. Actually, no, did you come on last week? No.
Yeah, the week before, yeah.
Week before. Yeah. But thank you for that. Brother Prosper, as always, man, love to listen to you, man. So much knowledge,
Salute.
Man.
The honor is mine.
Fantastic.
And Thierry Henry.
I've been a bit wild. I've been a bit disobedient. I try and bring it back because I get the threads on and get something down.
Hey, we do what we can do, man. We do what we can do. You know what I mean? And all those who checked in and commented in the live chat, thank you so very much, because without you, there could never ever be this channel here. This channel is Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world.